we have different types of weather and storms on Earth. Does outer space have different types of storms? If so, do they affect the weather on Earth?
Hey Jaco, thanks for your question about space weather. Yeah, obviously we have weather here on Earth, and you probably know that there's weather on different planets. So the biggest one that comes to mind, well, there's a few. We talk about Martian dust storms affecting some of our Mars rovers, and what will happen is the Mars rovers will have these solar rays, and then the Martian dust storm comes and they put like a layer of dust on top of the solar rays, so they're not as effective. That's something that NASA has to be aware of and account for when they're designing the rovers. There's also, when you look at Jupiter, you can actually see this huge eye, this huge hurricane, which is prominent in Jupiter, and that's a continuous hurricane that's always there. So it doesn't matter what night you look at it, that hurricane is always there. But things that affect Earth are, we have a lot of solar radiation that actually affects Earth. So you've probably heard of like solar flares. There's something called a coronal mass ejection, or CME, and those affect Earth by they affect our satellites. So the Earth has this magnetosphere which helps to protect us. It's this giant magnetic field which helps to protect us from a lot of the solar emissions from the sun. But that doesn't always help us with our satellites. So sometimes our satellites get bombarded with solar radiation. There was a launch probably about 3 or 4 years ago now where a bunch of Starlink satellites didn't make it into their orbit because they got hit with a lot of radiation, and then they ended up falling back and burning up in the Earth's atmosphere. So that is something that we have to factor in, and you can actually see space weather when you look at the northern lights or the aurora borealis. The aurora borealis is these charged particles that are coming through the magnetic field of the Earth at the poles, at the northern and southern poles, and that is the light emitting in our atmosphere is due to those charged particles coming through the Earth. So that's a great question. Space weather is something that NASA is very conscious of, something that NOAA is very conscious of as well. But yeah, it's something that we really have to be aware of. Thanks for the question.